Welcome back to Bridges and Breakdowns. If you are under the sound of my voice, you have returned for the musings of your favorite serious and unserious millennials, posted up at the bridge between two generations who love to tussle. Every episode, we take you on a journey trying to find that sweet spot that integrates the best of what all these generations have to offer. I am your co-host, Alyzza, and I am joined by my beautiful, effervescent, the smile that makes all the boys go wild, co-host, best friend, Lorryn. How you doing, love?
I'm great. I'm in the middle of, or the beginning of my me season. I had to wear this. Shout out to Issa Rae. I'm great. How you doing, best friend?
Girl, I'm doing all right. I cannot complain. It has been quite a week, but we'll get into it. I want to turn the floor over to you because you're going to tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind today's episode. This season, we're talking about all things curiosity, sometimes how that can turn into the intersection of curiosity and mistakes and how we're navigating them as millennials. And today we are talking about a very special topic. It's actually the introduction to a 3-part series we have, but take it away, friend. What are we talking about?
Yes, we are talking about what the hell happens in pregnancy. So it was funny when we were like coming up with the theme for the season. I think, Alyzza was pregnant, but I also I would see this girl on TikTok all the time, and she had this running list of like all the reasons why she would not get pregnant because she was finding out new things that could happen during pregnancy. And so it would be like, it'll be like part of a video of somebody talking about something that happened to them during their pregnancy, and then she would like do a green screen and it would show her going to her notes app and she had like 300 some reasons for why she wasn't going to be pregnant. I was like, damn.
I'm very glad you didn't share any of this with me while I was pregnant. That is hilarious.
No, of course not. Of course not. So I was like cracking up because some of the things like, losing your teeth was not something that I knew could happen. Like, with old age, like my teeth are shifting, especially because I'm not wearing my retainer.
Your retainer, yep.
Right. But to know that you can lose all the calcium and your teeth start falling out or whatever was crazy work. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is quite a bit I don't know about pregnancy. I need to learn.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And, I'm just at that age where I'm starting to think about, what to do for family planning now that I'm a little bit older. And, I want to make sure I have all my options because I'm not in a rush to have a kid just yet, but I would like to. So I just want to, create the best situation for me at the time whenever I choose to do so. And then, I
was saying that's a very healthy curiosity to have, I feel like. It's very natural.
And it works for me because what helps other than medication with my anxiety is having information.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Like I just remember when I broke my toe, it actually, what was it? What did I do? It popped out of socket. So in addition to it being broken, also they had to like put it back in the socket. And you're like, okay, well, we can localize and do this anesthetic or all this stuff. And I'm like, nah, it hurts. I just want to get it done. But how long and what's the level of pain that I'm going to experience so I can get my mind right and, not kirk out on y'all? And they told me, and I was a G, and they just reset my toe and and wrapped it all up. And I just was grinning and bearing it for like that 5 minutes, but it was cool. So I need to have the info so that I don't
that is so funny.
Run off a cliff.
I love that.
So yeah, and I genuinely feel like I know I can do hard things. So I know I can get through the pregnancy, but after the pregnancy, oh God, I can't believe it, Jesus.
That's Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Until you get punched in the face.
And that is what bringing home a new baby is, with no plan, especially. So yes,
Absolutely.
We are very excited to have some really incredible guests join us for this 3-part episode. And we're going to break it up because I know this ain't for everybody. But if this sounds like your jam or somebody who will be interested, please share, tell a friend. But part 1 today, we're going to talk about all things that come in the first step of when you decide, hey,
you would like to have a family.
Parenthood is for me. It is something I'm interested in. And our generation is actually having babies much older in life. And that comes with its own set of challenges and considerations and things we need to talk through and have strategy and technique and plans to address. So there are so many different roads to parenthood. And today we're going to talk with someone who's going to talk a little bit more about all things egg freezing, for
IVF, all those great things.
All the fertility plans that women are making now to be empowered to make that choice for ourselves. And very excited to have someone join us on the main stage. Please stick around if that sounds of interest to you. But
yes, please. And we have some great questions. So, Come on now.
I mean, yes, we're just very naturally curious girls
We're in
who
our Oprah era, okay?
I love
Interviewing,
it.
we in our interviewing bag, so
I
it's
love
great
it.
conversations if I do say
It
myself.
it it was an incredible conversation. I'm so excited to bring
Me
that to y'all.
too.
But first we're gonna check in. We're gonna catch up with each other. We are long distance best friends, so we try to save a little bit. We talk all throughout the week, but we save some for the
Mm-hmm.
show to hear about how the
Mm-hmm.
other's week was. So the glow and grow best friend. Would you like to start us off this week, or do you want me to start?
Well, first, for our new listeners, because we're getting new listeners all the time.
Yes,
So I
we
do
are.
want to let you guys know that our glow is the opportunity where we talk about the positives for our week and, something that we're very proud of ourselves, good stuff. The glow or grows, excuse me, Jesus, are lessons because we don't take no L's around here. We just, a little knock, a little bop on the nose, but we take it in stride and then we pivot. So, we're here to encourage each other as well as share these things with you. And
Yes,
if they resonate, you can go on a journey with us.
I love that.
But yeah, so
Thank you
I
for
do
keeping me
not want to
honest.
start.
Thank you for keeping, because I'm like,
Yeah,
I was
of
going to dive
course.
straight in. I forgot. You're
I
right.
know,
We
I
are
know.
growing. We're
We're
growing.
growing like legit, and I'm super happy. Like I was gonna make this my glow, but I'm not. But we're really growing. I was just looking at the analytics and like, yay us. So yeah, best friend, go
You want me to go
ahead.
first? All right. So
Yeah.
this week for me, I know you'd be like, "Oh, where you want to start? Negative or positive?" And today, my glow is my grow. My grow is my glow. It's kind of a circle over here, which is rare,
Mm-hmm.
where you can kind of have something happen in your life where you are both winning and having to reckon with yourself at the same time. So I'll try to keep it short. We have a lot to talk about today, but I I was cutting it close and barely making it too close to the sun this week. This is just a very busy season in life. I have two kids, two little ones. One is not even 1 year old yet. Even in a household with my husband where we both contribute um, and are part of the daily management of what it takes to run a family and for everyone to be healthy and happy and supported. It still sometimes doesn't, it's not always balanced and it can't be, right? And
Right.
so
Yeah.
sometimes I'm taking on more, sometimes my husband's taking on more. And this week, especially, I kind of put my head down and was just like, I'm gonna do the work and I don't have, I'm gonna take on more responsibility because I want to make his load lighter and I want to make sure that no balls are dropped with the babies. And it was an extra weight that I brought onto myself that I didn't have to. And so my husband reminded me that I need to advocate for myself more in the house too, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. Your partner cannot literally read your mind. But he did see that I was just physically a little uncomfortable, girl, especially co-sleeping. I slept bad on my shoulder one time, maybe 2 months ago at this point, and my shit is still tore up. That is the part of aging that they do not warn you about.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, I've been complaining about it. I'm in physical therapy for a separate ailment, and I legit be having my physical therapist try to help me with my shoulder. I just slept wrong one night. And so it was starting to give me some issues. So this is all happening at the same time in a week. He sees me struggling with my shoulder, and he's like, babe, you didn't said you was going to take that seriously and get it worked out enough. He's like, check your email. He had sent me a gift card for this really great massage parlor here in DC. And he was like, you need to go to the masseuse, let them take care of you. And you need to do it like soon. Like don't tell me next week. What are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, all of the things that we have in this is like a Tuesday night.
Staying alive.
Right.
Tuesday routine.
Cooking dinner, getting the baby, right. Doing all the things. He was like, we have a village. We have support. You're assuming that I can't do it because he was like getting ready for a work trip. So I'm under the mindset of like, let me not ask for any additional support because you need help. I don't want to ask for more help. And that was just a really good come to Jesus for myself of like, you don't have to assume that your partner is also not as like, he's invested in making sure you're taken care of because y'all have a positive, healthy marriage. So don't take the opportunity of like not asking for help. That's just a toxic trait I have. I don't typically like to ask for help, even from people who I know are invested in helping me and who want to see me win and want to see me taken care of. So yeah, man, work was just busy boots. And I was assuming I couldn't take time away from the crib. And I literally called and I booked that appointment same day.
I love a same day.
I know, and I just was so excited at work because I had something to look forward to, and
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that I was gonna physically feel better, and that Habesha lady turned me every which way but loose. I was so happy when I got off that table. I was like, "Bitch, what is your name?" Because I'm never going to anybody else here
No.
but you. She got me together. I could move my arm. I felt like I was in the Bible, and Jesus had just did a miracle through her. I was like, this is crazy that it was this simple. I didn't have to be in pain physically. I didn't have to
Right.
be worn down and ragged. And so that was my both glow and grow that like, hey girl, I get that you want to be superwoman, but you're gonna have to take your
Mm-hmm.
cape off sometimes. And you're in a relationship with somebody who don't need for you to always be superwoman.
Period, Pooh.
So that was my like,
That's a
okay,
good man,
bitch.
Savannah. I'm glad he reminded you of that.
He did. And I was like, oh,
Because
he
some
was like,
people might
girl.
take advantage of that.
Oh,
You know?
absolutely. Even
Yeah.
unintentionally. And that's like in friendships too. You know, you can
Exactly.
get in the balance of I'm always a friend checking in and asking how someone is doing and always trying to anticipate people's needs and you are deserving of reciprocity. So I hope that ministers to you. Closed mouths don't get fed. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ask for what you need. And guess what? Give people the option to say, I can't do that. Or the option to be like, how about I double that?
Right.
Shout out to the queen over there. I need this or more. Okay.
Or more. Heavy on the more.
So yeah,
girl.
that was me.
Right, well, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, girl. I'm happy I can move my shoulder now. Let me see you bounce right to left and let your shoulder lay. Yeah. I'm good. I'm good over here. How are you, friend? Since I already took up my glow and grow, I wanna hear both from you. You decide whether you're gonna start with the negative or the positive.
Negative, because I love negativity. No, actually, I don't really love this. So let me tell you something. Listen. All right. So as you know, I'm getting so slim, and I got new bras. So my clothes, everything is fitting much better, but differently for sure.
Okay.
And yesterday was like a goddamn heat wave. And I was going to a barbecue with like some of my classmates from 8th grade.
Yes.
So I hadn't seen them, and I wanted to look nice. I wasn't trying to show off for nothing, but I just wanted to look nice.
I'm doing the mental math. I'm like, ooh, how many years has it been since we was in 8th grade? That's crazy.
Girl.
Never mind. Don't say.
I'm not right. I don't know math. Well, I was gonna say I'm legally blind, but what's that? POP. But no, I don't know math. But in any event, I was like, I want to look cute, but it's hot as hell. And like the guy who was hosting, he had like a pool that he built. He had a bounce house for the kids. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna be outside.
Oh, this is nice.
He's real nice, beautiful home, just really lovely. And he was really lovely in 8th grade. So I'm very happy. Well, I mean, I knew him from kindergarten. We were in the same kindergarten class.
That's so sweet.
But yeah, so just really opened his home, very welcoming. So I wasn't gonna be like, look, y'all could be outside, but I need to be indoors. So I changed my outfit, right?
Okay.
And I changed my outfit into a dress that when I first bought it was too big, right? And I bought that dress like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's much bigger now. And so, but I was like, oh, I was nigga rigging it. I was like tucking, cause it's like a romper dress, kind of, sort of. It's like a dress, but it's like 2 pieces. Okay. So it's like a skirt that you like kind of tie off. Then it's got like the little breast part.
We're going to have to add a clip of you wearing this ensemble into the post-production.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not catching the vision, but this sounds really cool.
It's very cute. I have it from when I wore it when it fit better. So I will send that picture. And I didn't actually take any pictures from yesterday. But in any event, I got to the picnic. I looked cute. I was able to like get everything situated before I left out. Looked in the mirror. I was like, okay, girl, you look good. And you're going to be cool because it's very thin material. Because I didn't want to sweat through, because I had a quilted like Hanifa dress that I was going to wear. And I was like, oh, I might be too hot in that. So let me just get something that's really thin and flowy. And this is, it was literally like a little whatever. But get there, get out my car. I like to bring games. I bought drinks, I bought ice cream. So I'm carrying all this stuff. So in the time that it took me to get them from my car to their house, the sleeves of the dress fell down. And like I would wear the sleeves down anyway, but because it was so big, it looked like the sleeves fell down. You know what I'm saying? So that was already blowing me.
Oh my God.
And then the like breast part, like it was like you could see my bra because it was falling on down. So I just was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought like, oh, it'll work. I should have pinned it or put some double-sided tape, but I just hate going out looking a mess if I don't plan to look a mess. You know what I mean? Like, God damn it. I'll go places.
Unintentional. Who's out here dressed like a clown.
And everybody's like, oh no, the outfit looks cute. Yes,
you just needed to fix yourself up after you put all your bags down, bag lady.
But I'm like, let me get into y'all bathroom. I didn't want to come in there like I gotta fix my outfit. So I just was sitting there like, oh Lord Jesus. I was so embarrassed. Then I took a little friend, and then I was on the moon, so I didn't care no more. But when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, bitch, I could have walked out that dress. How big it was, and at the time I was like, oh no, it's fine. You ain't lost that much weight. No, matter of fact, I'm either gonna give it away or just donate. Yeah, I'm gonna have to donate because I can't play myself like that again. That was embarrassing.
Under no circumstance. I mean, if you can't get it taken in, then just
it wasn't even worth that much.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and let that be a blessing to the next girl, so she can be fine as hell.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting. And I know you're very fashionable, so I know it's fly. I just was not, when you said a romper dress with like the Esmeralda sleeves, I'm like, I'm not seeing what this looks like, but we go, we'll drop it in.
Hopefully I have a good picture.
You all, please stream the visual. Y'all can...
Right, stream the visual so you can see me. I'm going to post one picture where I was looking really cute, but it's just like from the neck up, so you can see that. But then you also going to see it now. Preface this. This was after a margarita night, and then my other best friend, Portia, came into town with her cousin, Brad, and that nigga drink like a fish, so they had me drinking, and I couldn't even make it home, and I was Ubering. I couldn't even get in the Uber to make it home. I ended up staying downtown with them. I was dead asleep, all my clothes on, shoes on, just laying in bed like a vampire. So the picture that I know, I'm going to be looking semi... We might even have to put an emoji over my face, but you'll be able to see the dress.
Oh my God. Oh God. Okay, so this is not that. This is a fun loss. Next time,
right.
Your lesson from that is put on clothes that fit.
Put on clothes that fit,
and
friends.
Let outfits go. Once you've outgrown them, y'all, or you've shrunk, just let them go. Let them be a blessing.
Let them go. Don't be like me, because you're going to be, I ain't seen these people in many decades, and I'm up in here. They're like, this real, she ain't got no money. I thought she was a lawyer. What's on? So, I just don't be like me.
Oh my God. Where's your positive? Where's the glow?
Right. My positive is negative. No. My positive is that I have been doing hard things.
Yes, you have.
And although I had to do hard things with the help of my friends, I'm very proud of myself because if you've been listening to us for a while, I struggle with owning my feelings sometimes and just being vulnerable. And my good Judies were very supportive and just helping me be comfortable with making changes in areas that I want to, change in, obviously. But I needed a little nudge along the way. But I made some strides. I did something that was hard for me, and it worked out.
I'm proud of you. Yeah. And I feel like this is the season of not doing business as usual. Y'all, the world is literally on fire. Tragedies. Get your house in order.
Yours.
If it's this point, I mean, this is a great pivot to Woo Girl, what is going on? Our segment where we break down things happening in current events, hot topics, things in pop culture. And I just feel like every week, every day in this administration, you wake up to something else out of control, on fire, dire straits. And we are not, a people who are fatalistic and doom and gloom.
Accelerationists, like, we might as well just kill ourselves. The world's on fire, climate control.
We're hard bodies. We are built for
Built
this.
for it.
Black people have existed and will exist in the future. And that is a revolutionary thing to proclaim. That being said, I feel like this is not the time in anybody's life to be playing small. Just go out for what you want, girl. The worst that can happen is what? Somebody tell you no? You ain't gonna die from
it's
that.
Like, I don't even hear that. What? In my delusional state, I don't hear no. It's just like, oh man, maybe I just didn't hear from them. Okay, never mind. Just moving on. But you just gotta do what you do. The world could end tomorrow. Jesus could return tomorrow. Don't you want to do what you... And Lord, I do want to go with you, but I do have some other things I would like to do.
I have some things I would like to do on this side of glory first.
Please.
But yes, my Savior is coming back soon. So get your house in order. But we're going to do, because we want to really get to the main stage, we're going to do some quick drops. We're going to really set ourselves up with a 3-minute timer. Yeah, we're about to you're going to get first thoughts, honest thoughts of the hot topics for today. So the first thing is first. Zohran Mamdani, the African American. What are your thoughts? Background. We talked last week a little bit about the New York City Democratic primary, and our man, the 33-year-old phenom out of New York City, he is by national. He was born in Uganda, but ethnically he is Asian. He's a South Asian. He's Indian or Pakistani?
No, he's Indian.
He's Indian, right? You're right. Both of his parents are Indian.
Right.
Both is Indian. So he is an Indian Ugandan nationalist who's lived in the United States since he was like 7. So he grew up here. And there was a New York Times article that came out that took a dig into his past and saw that when he was applying for college, he had self-identified as an African American or a non-Hispanic Black person when he was applying to go to Columbia University. Did not get in, spoiler alert. And there's been some backlash about that I feel like it could have been a nothing burger, but it turned into something. Best friend, what are your thoughts?
Mr. Mamdani needs to come out and be like, you know what? I fed into the crap that the white supremacists were telling me about Black people getting the handouts. I really wanted to go to Columbia. My daddy was a professor there. I did what I could to get what I want. But I was young and dumb. I was 17, I was 18. I'm sorry, Black people. I understand. I'm grown now. Put that to bed. But instead, got these huff-ass leftists. And, it sucks because
it is gaslighting to the ultimate degree.
My God. And
for them to be saying that he was justified in doing it because it's just so race is so complicated.
So complex.
And technically he is African because he was born in Uganda. Did that nigga identify as a nigga when he was in Uganda?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If anybody, and I can say this because I do know Indian people, they identify as Indian. They do not be like, oh, I'm just American. No, they identify with their Indian culture because it's a very strong, rich culture that they pass down through family. So them happening to be in Uganda,
an ancient, rich culture that you should be proud of. And
absolutely.
He is proud of.
And I'm sure
your mama made fucking Mississippi masala, all right? We know that you know the difference between African and Africant. Okay?
Right. And so your goddamn what's the followers cult whatever.
I don't know what his stands are
out
called.
Here. I don't either. But
this is not it's we're not even being critical of him as like a candidate because like what you want to do for the city of New York is like a separate issue. But what you're not going to do is gaslight Black people into saying that you did not think that fat meat was greasy.
You thought you was African. You thought you was entitled, especially, I know the forms are wrong. I know the forms don't talk about the complexities of all different types of nationalities and shit. But I know that without even seeing it, that you knew and that there was at least an other box for you to pick. And you chose not to. You chose not to, right? Maybe it probably wasn't like a multiracial type of thing like they have now, but I know it was the other box. Or you could have at least put Southeast Asian because you are that, right? You might not be from there, but that is
your
ethnically who you are. So
So that was interesting. So all the smoke a lot of people had for the Black elders last week, I feel like came back to kind of knock on the door to be like, to bite what was said?
They was playing.
That was some shenanigans. Those were some shenanigans. You can acknowledge
it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing because y'all know better. And the only reason why y'all doing this is because y'all trying to fortify yourself because y'all know the Republicans. Y'all used to fighting with Democrats, but you're not used to the Republicans going ham and cheese because if Kamala wasn't Black and all this other, she was Jamaican and she wasn't American, even though she was here, period, raised in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? She had hers.
A daughter of Howard. Okay. Right. A Black
a lady
woman.
Of AKA and what's his name? Mamdani playing. Y'all need to yeah. So my feelings are he either needs to take control of it or it's just gonna it's gonna grow into something that doesn't have to be, you was wrong. Just like Mindy
Yeah.
Kaling's stupid ass brother.
Her brother, who, oh my goodness.
He went to med school and pretended to be a black person and
Did
wrote a
he
book
even
about
get
it.
into med school though? I thought he
I
didn't
don't
get
even
in.
know.
It's
Child,
shenanigans.
I don't know. But he
All that to
wrote a
say,
book about pretending to be black,
it's
trying
all
to
because people think, though, they believe the lie that black people are inherently
we get
benefited
handouts. We go to
more
school
from
for free.
affirmative action. If you say you black, you somehow will get extra points on the application. So debunked. All right, I think that was our 3 minutes. All right, next topic. Baltimore crime is down. Mayor Brandon Scott is doing the Lord's work. There has been, the Washington Post had reported that the strategy was to approach gun violence as a public health threat instead of simply a crime issue, and to treat that threat at the source by investing in violence interrupters, community organizations, and trauma-informed support systems in impacted neighborhoods. The plan's goal was to reduce shootings by 15% every year for 5 years. Now, 4 years in, Scott has said the plan is working.
It's working.
So, I guess there's good news too. There is both shenanigans in the news, but I really appreciated the fact that this got national coverage.
Me too. Yeah, it was really
That's great.
great.
That Baltimore crime is historic low because that black man is doing the Lord's work up there in Baltimore. Mayor Brandon knows what he's doing, and people laughed at him when he committed to this approach. And look at you now, keep going, Mayor.
Styling on him.
Yeah, him
and
and West. Oh, go ahead.
They be linked up. I was gonna say he worked with the governor to get what he needed, and it's working. It's proved. Like, I think what they opened up the rec centers, extra hours. Like, I mean, they really took an approach to cater to everyone so that they have better options. And what do you know? Less crime.
When you give kids things to do, when you give them resources and structure, and people are fed and they have options, positive outlets to express themselves, violence goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't arrest your way out of stuff like this. So it's been very positive.
Especially now. I mean, there was so much more for kids to do when we were kids, but like a lot of those third spaces people I talk about are gone, or exclusively they try to keep kids out because of how rowdy they can be. Like, I know in Chicago, they like, oh, you can't come downtown. Like
they about to raise the bridge on their ass.
Right.
DC right now we have a crazy curfew because the kids are just out of control. But I get it's like, but y'all restricting them further, where it's like, if you ain't with an adult after 8 o'clock, we rounding y'all ass up. And it's like, okay, so what is the strategy here?
Right.
So to have Baltimore being the ones who are like leading the country, it's very rich because them
people
poor
like
Brodies
talk shit about them. Yeah. I mean, with reason, but at least they're doing something to try to improve the conditions, and it's working. And I love that for them.
Yeah. So we got to give
them Mayor Brandon.
Absolutely. Got to get them their blah 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 blah. I don't even know
props?
what it is. Yes, gotta give say their props. Yes, because I'm just thinking of how there's so much negative shit happening. So I'm like, it's just good to get good news, and for it to be about black people and a black city, right? It's like, and led by a black mayor and a black governor who's working in partnership. We pathologize blackness so much of like, this is why we can't get right, but no, we are not inherently a violent people. So
not at all.
Love that.
All right, friend. What's next on our quick drop list?
All right, the last one, we're going to actually transition into the main stage, not before Lauren's favorite segment, I Love Men. But I saw something that was connected to what we're talking about today with Naomi Osaka. So she was in the news, which is so messed up. And she actually responded to this saying, y'all only cover me when I lose, which is like, well, yeah, girl, unfortunately, that's what you're doing a lot these days. But
and
she lost.
You be doing stuff to make people like
talk about it. Poor girl. She's big. She has big Eeyore energy, unfortunately. So she lost in the 3rd round of Wimbledon and had a pretty depressing and sad interview after her loss. This is like, to summarize, not a direct quote, but she was just like, I'm just going to be a negative human being today. And I am so sorry. I don't have anything positive to say about myself. It's something I'm working on. It was my daughter's birthday, so that was something I was happy about this week.
That was like a bright spot in this week, yeah.
But other than that, I'm just constantly going to be replaying that match for now. And she just had this like, literally like a balloon that is deflating in front of you. She just looks so pathetic and pitiful and sad. And I get it. You've just lost. And we know how serious athletes can be about, this is their job. This is their livelihood. They take it seriously, but it looked pretty pitiful. I will say. And she has this kicked off a conversation online that I don't think was fair to her or to young mothers
Any
in
young
general.
Black girls that are
Young Black
having
women.
children that aren't
Yes.
married when they have their children.
Yeah, folks started to pile on about the consequences of young women with bright futures having kids over their goals and the regret that comes with it. I think people were trying to really, especially because Hallie and DDG have been in the news so much recently. I think honestly, like a lot of young Black women who are just having children who have careers publicly. Flo Milli. I feel like we can go through and name a bunch of actual like rap girls and pop girls who have like very recently had kids and being told, which is crazy because
that their
we can
life
go
is
back.
over.
Lauryn Hill has a whole Grammy award-winning album about it. Your life being over because you decide to have a child. And that's what the industry tells you and that's what people tell you. But I don't think that's the case with Naomi. I think that she has some other things going on that are contributing to her chronic depression.
Absolutely.
And that it doesn't really make sense to pile on and use her as a poster child to project. See, this what happened when you are young.
Keep your legs closed. Make them marry you before you pop out a baby.
Which,
first of all, again,
people act like they've not been popped in the mouth for sure. But part of that conversation that I appreciated was the counter that there's also lots of women with like the reverse regret.
Right.
Who have girl bossed too close to the sun and were sold, potential lies or false realities of like what the possibilities are with IVF and how much time you do or do not have until if you want to start a family. So the takeaway from that shouldn't be that women need to make one type of decision and that there's only one way or one pathway or road into having a family. Because if you want to be a mom, honestly, physically, it's a lot easier to do that when you are in your early 20s, girl. These babies, these girls be bouncing back. You have your whole life ahead of you. You have energy. You not like me who got to go to the masseuse because you done slept the wrong way with your baby in your bed, right? So I think the real takeaway is that like women just need better strategies and tools to figure out what you want and have fewer strangers and like societal norms and pressures in your ear to say, this is what you're supposed to do. And you figuring out and it being so freeing and liberating. Do I actually is motherhood important to me? Is it something I want to pursue? I get that you don't have full control over it because traditionally it does require a partner. A willing partner.
Absolutely. Right.
And ideally someone who is like that you would like to also partner with in the parenthood process. But that's not everybody's journey and that's not everybody's reality. So yeah, I wish that it wasn't such a very low reader take because it could have been an opportunity for a great conversation. But for her, Naomi, it's like, that's a terrible example. That baby just sad. She just,
right. She's
I don't think she want to play tennis no
all
more.
The time. Right. Really and truly. And I feel like because her family now depends on her, like she takes care of her whole family. Like she said that a couple years ago, that it's very
she has
stressful.
a whole documentary, I think, on Netflix about it.
Yeah, that, when she loses, she thinks about how this will impact her family. And I mean, she's part Japanese and part Haitian. And even with that, like there is a lot of cultural norms that I think have made it kind of hard for her to express how she's feeling without feeling like she's disobeying. So then she's also dealing with that internal struggle of honoring her culture, but also being honest about how she feels internally. And then, anytime you're feeling bad, she got millions of bitches telling her, you sound like Eeyore. You should have kept your legs closed. You got that dusty rapper. And
when whole time, this baby is the highlight of her week. Y'all not listening to her.
She's not even complaining about
she
having
said being
child.
a mom is actually the only thing that made me smile this week.
Exactly.
That's what she said, girl.
Yeah, she's not sad about her child. She opted to have this child knowing that she had this career. And like, sure, she was in love at the time and was in a relationship, but I'm sure if she did not want to have the child, she would not have. So it's just like, I don't like it that the internet is a safe space for people to talk down, dogpile on Black women for whatever choice people perceive is not correct. And it puts targets on Black, like,
and it's a setup for everybody to lose because you're gonna disagree with a personal life choice I have at some point. I think people are just way more comfortable attacking Black women in
Yeah,
that way.
because Black women are, it's allowed, right? We got a
Yeah.
lot of, publicly, they see what Black men have done with Megan Thee Stallion, that are just, have rallied around Tory Lanez because he, did whatever, or even the Diddy situation. Like,
Oh God, we didn't even
Black
talk about
women
that bitch.
are, I
That
know,
man, we didn't even get to, for the record, because
yeah.
that jury got that wrong, 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 wrong,
Wrong
wrong.
as hell. I've seen a couple takes about that, well, as far as like the overcharging and some like federal prosecutors saying that, they try to do the RICO because they can really sew it up and get everybody. But I mean, I think having a jury of predominantly men, and like, them not seeing those women because they were in some sort of relationship as the sex slaves that they were, given that they were not able to speak out when they wanted to use protection. They would get beat into submission so that they would go along with the sex. So, I mean, there was lots of things that showed that this was not a consensual relationship, regardless of if it was at one point. But yeah, for them to see the male escorts that for all intents and purposes, when they testify, were like, I got paid. I thought Cassie liked it. I'm sorry. Like they did not feel like a victim, but you agreed that the law covered them, but not those women who were telling you their experiences where they felt victimized. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm hoping with all of his witness tampering and everything that he's done outside.
Oh yeah, he's going to jail for a little bit
He's
of time.
absolutely going to jail, but I hope that they can do some enhancements because of his behavior.
Yeah, with sentencing, because they consider all of that.
Yes, with the sentencing. The judge gets to, set it how he'd like. So I'm hoping that that'll be where they can at least sit him down for a little while. I'm glad that his bail was revoked. So yeah, I'm just, that nigga needs to sit down. And definitely would have been, he lived a good life doing what he wanted to do. So he could sit and take some time. Right. So I don't feel no type of way about that.
Gets embraced back by the industry. I don't
High
honestly have hope whether or not that will be the case once he does eventually get out. But he might end up having to be like Russell Simmons and just go live out the rest of his life in Bali somewhere, because the Black media, if don't nobody else get it right,
girl, what is going on?
What is going on? But yes. Well, I feel like we can wrap things up there if you want to.
Absolutely. Yeah, that kind of just, I wasn't expecting to talk about him, and it just came out and it pissed me off. So yeah, unfortunately, much love to all overcomers, survivors to overcomers. It's Sunday. That's why I'm in my Jesus bag. All the survivors that were able to, who are feeling afraid of possibly coming forward. There's still value in that, right? And I don't want anybody to ever feel like I know that it's hard, and I know that like seeing this outcome can make you feel like this is why people don't speak up. I shouldn't speak up, but it's important. It will absolutely make a difference to someone,
and it moves the needle. Cassie's bravery absolutely, hopefully, empowered someone else to understand that they too can speak up for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to change the vibe, I had to do the waves to get that up off me and that darkness. We are going to go into our lighthearted, fun, and my favorite segment that I fought tooth and nail for, because originally Alyzza did not see the vision when I pitched this as a standing segment. If you don't know, now you know. It's the I Love Men, said like Oprah, talking about how she loves bread. All right. So if you're new here, I Love Men is my segment where I pick a fine nigga of the day. I have a long running list of all the beautiful specimens. It's race neutral. If you're new, I say nigga like, I don't know,
it makes
it could be a noun. It could be, whatever. I too, Melanie, I was not president of the captain of the cussing club, but one of the things I love about adulthood is being able to fully express myself however I want to. And I like to make, my emphatic communications with cursing. But in any event, and I don't even feel like niggas cursing, but we're going on a tangent. Bring it home. Land the plane, Lauren. Okay. So, got a list of all different types of genres, in genres, ages, stages. Fine to me. Probably fine to you all. Alyzza, she fake, be a little a hard judge. So,
It don't be fake. We just have different taste in men. So she picks them up. Boop. I rate them. It's fine.
1 through 10, like Keith Lee. And yeah, so without further.
I tried it.
Right.
What do you be saying? I got it. I tried it. Let's talk about it.
Let's rate it through 1 through 10.
Let's rate it 1 through 10.
So, I feel like my voice ain't ready for me to sing, but I'm just gonna speak it. I wish I could sound like Maya
No,
Angelou.
you got
Okay, I ain't gonna start. I have been drinking. My bad, Miss Katie. What's in my cup has got me acting up.
that's so
All right.
funny.
The fine nigga of the day today is AZ Chike.
You mean Chike?
Nope, it's not Chike. It's AZ Chike.
First of all,
I follow his little fine ass on TikTok.
Let me explain to y'all how phonics work. Words don't just say whatever you want them to say when phonetically they are pronounced a different way. So you telling me it's Chike, I reject that. But I've never actually seen him, so this will be interesting.
What? Oh my gosh.
I mean, not that, first of all, the pop out had like 12,000 Negroes on
yeah, it was a hella niggas there. And I don't even know if he had performed at the pop out. But
oh, right, because the album hadn't dropped then, did it?
Right.
Yeah,
no,
GNX hadn't dropped then.
Oh, so you haven't seen him? Okay, let me get you a video because he also is very cute. And like his little, like when he talks, he's so excited and proud of himself, which he absolutely should be. But just seeing him talk about like when he got to perform at GNX, the LA show, he was so excited. He was stressed out because Kendrick literally told him like the day before he could perform.
Oh, why my cousin do that? So AZ Chike is he's featured on Peekaboo.
On Peekaboo. Yeah.
On GNX. Which I'm still on the high from seeing my cousin's show. I feel like, Kendrick, the man that you are.
He's amazing.
Love you so much. And, okay, so I'm really surprised.
All right.
He looked different in every picture. I don't understand why these niggas look like this. They're like chameleons. Or, no, they're not chameleons. They're like, what are the books we used to read? The Anamorphosis books? Back in the day when we was little kids,
or Animorphs?
No, not Animorphs, exactly.
Yeah,
not to talk about them like they're animals, but we out here objectifying.
I think he looks pretty consistent.
Okay, let me see.
Yes. So cute. And you don't like I like his accent too. So that always helps.
He has a very pretty smile. He don't need to put on that
grill. You know, he's trying to stunt. But yes, he is such
the grill
a cutie
actually
pie.
makes him look less attractive. Yeah, I guess he be trying to look hard. This video gives him way more personality.
Yes.
He's very cutie.
And he's cute to follow on TikTok too, because he's so excited about all like how his career is changing.
Look, the video him versus the pictures him are two different ratings, totally different dudes.
What? Okay, absolutely. Even the picture of him with the Chanel Scully, you don't think that's sexy? I think that's sexy.
He also looks a little bit tougher, a little bit more rugged than the playfulness that we see in with women especially. It's like personality, colors, sex appeal, and like how attractive, how handsome you look.
I'm trying to free myself of that. But
you're like, I just want to objectify these niggas. You either look good or you don't.
I just don't want to be like, oh my gosh, she's so nice and I'm attracted to that. No, I want the full picture, goddammit. But no, I definitely feel like his smile and his playfulness adds to why I think he's so cute.
Yeah.
But the pictures I sent you, I do think he's sexy.
The pictures you sent me were duds. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say
the one
this
we
is
got
because
the PG Lang shirt on. I mean, I know you can't see his full face,
it's
but the
literally
neck,
cut off.
the arm,
I'm about to say you literally can't see half his face in this picture.
His goatee.
You be picking you know what? Going up, you would not be the friend I would ask to help me pick pictures for like the dating apps. You would not be the person I'd call.
Actually, I'm an expert at that.
Oh, you're good at that? Well,
I would swipe.
That. What's the wrong way on these? If you don't like somebody, swipe right or you swipe left?
Ooh,
I would be swiping away.
Left.
Now I'm about to say
left.
I wouldn't be
to the left. To the left.
These pictures, no.
Okay, right.
But the video,
now,
he's really cute.
Helping the girls, not the boys.
Okay,
I don't know
I
what
said the guys.
Boys.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. AZ Chike. I don't even like saying that. That's
I know. I used to say Chike too.
Not his.
But
that's not what that's.
Since I watch his things, it's AZ Chike.
You know what? I'm gonna get it. Okay, we got it. We tried it. Let's rate it. I'm gonna give him a 7. I'm gonna give him a 7. He's a cutie.
I would say an 8.75, but okay.
Not these decimals. I'm not about to get into it with you over some decimals. No. He's a cutie. I would say, so if you were to bring him home,
I would like, say, like, when I stick it in her, like, when you think about his raps and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Freak,
actually,
bitch, I like my neck, such a yams.
Say what's sorry to your man? Nah, sorry for your loss.
For your loss. And then you want to stomp him out? Yeah, I put the whole thing. Think about him.
Think about him as, while he's rapping.
Peekaboo? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Peekaboo.
He come out.
Peekaboo.
He come out.
40 pointers like a Kobe game. I'm thinking of Kendrick's verse, but
Yes,
yeah,
but if you
I
think
feel
about
like
his, which was Raw, that's why Kendrick performed it at the Super Bowl, which he was on 10 when that happened. Yeah.
I mean, again, we're not. You said you're not talking about personality. You're not talking about
No, I'm just
talent.
saying
You're
that they
just looking at the
had.
raw, how people are looking. He's a cute. He looks. It's because he's like a. He's supposed to be, tough gangster ass
I
dude,
don't think
and
that's. I'm
then.
just saying he liked in
But
his
then no, but
pictures.
the video you sent me was like very playful and sweet, and that looked more. I was like, oh, he's cute.
Yeah.
He's a cutie. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stick with my 7. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on it. But bravo to you, because it could have been worse. If I was going by the pictures alone, Shorty was getting a 4.
No, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he's cute. Like, and I want to be clear.
The pictures you sent, he was getting a 4.
The pictures, the talent, and the playfulness all count. The personality all count. I'm just saying that's not going to outweigh the looks in this season of my life.
That's so funny. Him with the Chanel Scully, he's giving very much a Detroit nigga with the Cartier frames. Like, he don't look LA at all.
Yeah, I mean,
he looks different in every single picture you've sent. And yeah, I'm sorry.
He got a dimple, girl. Yeah. The PG Lane, that's my favorite picture right there.
Which is so funny because you can't see half his face.
But you can see what's important. You see his lips, you see his nose, you see his facial hair, you see his he got veins in his hands and arms. I mean, see the things.
We're going to transition this conversation.
You're sexualizing it. I'm just saying that you see the strength.
I am?
Yeah, because I'm not talking about the veins in his talonwacker. I'm talking about the veins in his hands and his arms. That's all.
I'll be excited to see how you edit this episode. This will be interesting to me.
You know what? I'm leaving it in.
That's hilarious.
That's what she said. Okay. No, okay. What? I'm out of pocket. I've been drinking, friends. I've been drinking. But I'm
hilarious. Okay. Well, friends, we are going to transition to the main stage. We have an amazing conversation today with a very esteemed guest. We will see you on the flip side.
What's up, everybody? We are now at the Bridges and Breakdown section. If you've been with us for a while, you know that this is the main stage where we tackle whatever our topic is of the day with thoughtful, meaningful conversation. This week is the start of a really cool series that we are doing on all things pregnancy. So to kick this off, we are going to start with family planning and preconception with a very special guest. Her name is Miss Monica Matta. Pronounced that correctly?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. So before we hear from Monica, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about her. Miss Monica here is an experienced business, operational, and technology leader in healthcare with 2 decades of experience advising healthcare institutions in the United States and abroad. She also served as the Chief Operating Officer and the Chief Technology Officer at a growth stage NYC-based healthcare technology startup where she expanded portfolio assets by 10 times and saw company revenues increase by 4. She has a proven track record, of building innovative solutions, driving operational scale, and developing winning business strategies. Before she founded Conceivable, which we are going to talk about extensively today, Monica found herself as a young professional woman who was not ready to have children. While pursuing egg freezing in her hometown, she became completely overwhelmed by the costs, which were over $40,000 for her estimated 2 rounds, give or take. And that's not even including the eventual IVF procedure and just the lack of affordable alternatives. So it seemed all the existing models preyed on her insecurities, lack of options. So with no alternative options available, she decided to make them herself. She froze her eggs abroad shortly after, and since then, she's helped countless women save upwards of 70% or more on IVF and egg freezing by facilitating their care abroad at some of the top-ranked clinics in the world. I'm going to say that again. She's helped women save up to 70% or more. If you are under the sound of my voice, you need to be listening. Keep your coins. Thank you. Conceivable was founded as an affordable solution to the high cost of fertility services in order to make high quality care accessible to all women who seek it. Conceivable prioritizes empathy and knowledgeable support in order to remove the undue burden of seeking and receiving fertility treatment. I know that was
That's a lot, but I need you to walk into every room with me.
I would love that. I'm the ultimate hype woman. Yes. But this is so good. I know for all our listeners, you like, damn, she really have to come on here and spit. And
She is. Period.
So I want everyone, I know you're listening or watching, but right now you should be clapping, giving it up.
Welcome to the main stage, Miss Monica.
And so now that I've done my part, I'm going to kick it over to Lisa so she can let you all know how we even got this superstar on our show and, we do what we do.
Yes, I'm so proud of Monica. She and I connected way back in Chapel Hill. We were both students, and Monica took me under her wing. She was my OG in the School of Public Health and really made sure your girl graduated and did things well. So she is not here. She's here in her capacity as an entrepreneur, but also as a friend and a girl's girl, an advocate of fierce public health equity, just phenomenon. And I'm so proud of her. I'm so excited to have her. Monica, hello, girl.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Go Heels.
Yeah.
And thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So here at Bridges and Breakdowns, we are both serious and unserious over here. So we love to try to kind of jump the guest in to our little family over here.
Now we a gang.
A segment that we call Break the Ice, Not the Bridge. Because we want you to be comfortable and kind of, you're just talking to your homegirls. And the rest of the audience is just going to be here to engage in their own way. But it's just the three of us here right now. So I would love to know right now, the world seems like it is on fire. But we keep going as we do. Right now in your life, you are running this business. You are living as a woman of color in this country. Girl, what is the soundtrack to your life right now that is getting you through it all? If you just had to think about one song that really could demonstrate where you are at this cross-section in time, what would it be and why? So I'm going to let you sit with that for a second. Lorryn, you're going to have to answer it too. I'm happy to go first if that's going to give y'all a little bit of time to process.
Please do.
I'm going to be a traditional Black millennial church baby right now and go to the great hymn of Sounds of Blackness known as Optimistic. Because I'm telling you, right now, the world is on fire, but I trust God and I trust my iced coffee. So that is what is getting this mom, student, professional, podcaster, wife, friend, all of the things. That is what's keeping me going right now. Long as you keep your head to the sky, be optimistic. That's me. That's my soundtrack right now. Monica, do you have one that is coming to your spirit?
Yes, I think always in times of strife, for me, it's always Lauryn Hill, and it is always Tell Him.
Me be patient.
Come to the room. Yes.
I'm telling y'all, this girl is the truth.
I think for me, it's just, give it to God, and the rest, you just need wisdom and strength. And the rest God will provide. So that's really what I'm hoping for these days.
Amen, girl.
Amen.
Love that. Love that.
Come on.
Lorryn, what you got for us?
So
that was a maniacal laugh. I don't know what you're about to say.
At this current moment, chat, your girl is operating on 3 hours of sleep and a bitch is tired. But I just drank a Red Bull, so I have all the energy of the world. However, my song is the Night Night song by Elmo, because as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to turn it on and take a nice long nap. By the way, everybody should listen to it. I've added it to my sleep time playlist. It's wonderful for the kids, but you legit will go to sleep.
That's some really good inner child work that you're doing over there.
I'm around a lot of babies,
You are.
And, yeah.
Well, I love that. I hope y'all are feeling, the nervous energy leaving and the fun, connected energy being present with us. So we're going to dive right in to hear from Monica. I would love for you, sister, to take us to the beginning. What was that moment or experience that made you say, I need to build this business? And were you building the company out of frustration, inspiration, or both? Just talk us a little bit through how you knew it needed to be a business, how it was viable, and how you knew other women needed it too.
It all started when I was serving as COO of a tech startup in New York City. And part of my charter as the head of operations for that company was to identify fertility benefits for our employees. So, I must have met with 50 vendors or platforms. Wow. And ultimately, I couldn't find any single offering that either, everything was way overpriced for a startup. We have a limited budget. We just couldn't afford a lot of the options in market. Or frankly, they were going to charge us a bunch of money, and ultimately our employees would benefit from it very little, if at all, in terms of coverage. So here I was, a business leader working for a company that wanted to provide these services, and I literally had no options available to me to do it. So, fast forward a couple years, I'm in my early 30s and thinking about my own fertility planning.
Yeah.
And because I work for this company, I have no fertility coverage. So I went and met with a clinic that was local to me in my hometown. And that's when I was quoted, $25,000 for a single cycle. And at that visit was diagnosed with PCOS. So I knew that I was going to have to do, 2 to 3 cycles.
My God.
And honestly, I left that appointment really discouraged. My jaw hit the floor.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe, I felt like if men needed it, you could go to a CVS.
You would be at 7-Eleven with the hot dogs.
Right.
Yeah, exactly right. And I just became honestly pretty angry and indignant, kind of pissed off. And I started, talking to all my colleagues and my friends about it. And that's really what started kind of an obsession with why? Why is it this expensive? And I started meeting with clinics and labs and learned pretty quickly that there are essentially 2 or 3 components that comprise the cost of your fertility care. Meeting with a doctor, going in for the scans, getting all the treatment, doing your retrieval, the lab associated with the clinic. That's really one component. And there were a couple of companies that were trying to tackle the costs of those services.
Yeah.
But frankly, they were doing it in ways that for me didn't feel ethical. And I wasn't really interested in creating a model that either preyed on people's insecurities or their lack of knowledge. And that's what I felt like some of those companies were doing. One of the other major components is medications. It's in any given scenario, maybe can be as much as half of the cost of your care. And so I thought, okay, well, what if I go to Canada or Mexico or something and I buy the medications and I bring them here and I make them available to women? And I found out that that is drug trafficking.
I'm going to say that's illegal.
That's very illegal.
Don't be a narco.
Not allowed. So scratch that idea off the list. And I thought, you know what? If I can't make it cheaper here, I'm just going to go to where it is cheaper. So I spent the better part of the next year and a half researching and meeting with clinics abroad. And I found out very quickly that there are a couple of leaders internationally, leading countries and leading clinics, predominantly in Spain. So pretty quickly after that, I made the decision to freeze my eggs abroad. And I started telling people about it. And before I even knew it, women I didn't even know were calling to ask me about it. And that was the moment that I was like, you know what, this
I got
is it.
one. I got one.
Yeah. So that's how it all started.
Girl.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Because I actually remember when your business launched, and I think Lizzie had put up a Instagram story, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just what I'm interested in. So I've read over the website, and now I'm just I'm so excited we get to talk to her. So yes, excellent. So with that, there's a lot of different procedures we can have, egg freezing, embryo freezing, IUI and IVF, and all of them can feel like mysterious, futuristic things to some people. Can you define what these discrete processes or procedures are? And then what are just some myths that you're constantly debunking about them?
Yeah. So basically, fertility treatment is categorized into 2 primary buckets. Okay. So one is fertility preservation. I don't want to get pregnant now, but I want to preserve my fertility for the future.
Yeah.
And the second is fertility assistance, reproductive assistance. And that's things that are interventions which help me overcome some barrier to my current fertility so that I can get pregnant as soon as possible. On the fertility preservation side, generally we're talking about egg freezing or oocyte preservation, embryo freezing, and in some cases, preserving the ovaries themselves. So freezing and preserving ovaries themselves. On the treatment side, generally you're talking about IUI, and the efficacy of IUI we can talk about if it makes sense, but Generally, it doesn't really increase your fertility prognosis in most cases of infertility, but IUI is an option. It's a low-cost option, which is generally why people pursue it before pursuing IVF.
Right.
And then an IVF is really the major one. And IVF actually was invented for women who didn't have fallopian tubes. And because that's the part of the reproductive process that it bypasses is fertilization in fallopian tubes. So when you talk about fertility care, really distinguishing between, do I want to just preserve my options for the future, or do I think I might want to get pregnant in the near term? That's really the first decision point for you. And then the other services we can talk about services from there.
And you were saying, you said freeze ovaries, but you meant embryos, right?
You can freeze eggs.
You can freeze, go ahead.
Yeah. You can freeze eggs. You can freeze embryos, and you can freeze your ovaries. And
what?
oftentimes,
Now, see, ovaries, that was over my head. I was thinking you were saying you can freeze your embryos in terms of, yes, if you actually have a partner or you have sperm that you know to make embryos with, but you can I didn't realize freezing your ovaries was a thing.
Yes, and generally it's a thing for women who have to remove their ovaries from their body for some reason. So potentially you're undergoing like a cancer treatment that might impact your ovaries, and you want to sort of take them out and preserve them in their entirety. Those are generally the kinds of situations that we're talking about when we're talking about taking out your ovaries completely. But it exists, and it's a really important option for women who need it.
Oh, wow. Learned something new today.
Yeah.
So have you heard any myths that were like just ridiculous about... I mean, I think up until today, I would have been like, you can get your ovaries removed? No, that's got to be a lie. So that's just a busted, I guess, myth for me. But
misinformation for you.
Mm-hmm. Misinformation. A lot of women, we work with a lot of women who are interested in pursuing egg freezing and sort of delaying pregnancy for, a few years. One of the common misconceptions that we hear from them is that you have to take out an IUD before you pursue egg freezing. IUDs are expensive because you generally only get one every, 5 to 8 years, and they're really uncomfortable to insert and remove. So people really I've met women who have avoided egg freezing completely because they didn't want to deal with their IUD.
What an easy thing to a myth to bust to open access to people. I wouldn't have even thought of that as an issue.
Exactly right. No. Yeah, you can keep your IUD in, and in most cases you can keep your IUD in during an egg freezing or an egg stimulation.
Oh, this is so
good
interesting.
To know. Yeah.
That honestly takes us to our next question, because you're working with women who are planning for kids, but not necessarily right now. How do you see this service changing the way women think about timing and ambition and control over their futures?
Man, I see it every day. Women who thought, honestly, that they had to choose between building a career and building a family, they start to realize that you don't have to pick just one of those things. And fertility planning with the right support gives women options. And it's not perfect control necessarily, but it's really meaningful choice.
Yeah.
I think at the same time reveals, I think, how fragile that sense of control is. And it really encourages women to focus on the things that they can control, and on distinguishing between the things they can and the things they can't, and really empowering them to take the steps to focus and influence the things that are within their control. So for many of our clients, it's the first time they're actively engaging with their reproductive future instead of sort of passively reacting to it.
Yes.
And that's a really massive mindset shift.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Because you have to enthusiastically have clarity about what your interests and desires are, separate from a partner or anyone else. It's like, do I want parenthood for myself, period?
Exactly.
And if so,
right.
Am I willing to do this? Am I willing to invest? Am I willing to travel, to get all this done so that I can have peace of mind? And I think that shift is important, because it's I think of it as peace of mind, right?
That's exactly the phrase that I think most women choose. Is the peace of mind that comes with just not feeling beholden to a clock, and feeling like you can sort of just hear this giant ticking in your head.
Every date you on, you're looking like, ooh, is this gonna be the one?
Yeah,
Feel
exactly
like,
right. It puts
Yeah.
so much pressure on dating. It puts so much pressure on like this period of your life, feeling like the entire course of your life depends
Yeah.
on, you know, who shows up on a dating app or who you
Right.
happen to be dating in your 30s, and
You can take that power
giving,
back.
yeah, absolutely. And giving yourself optionality to choose for yourself. I think that is probably the most powerful piece of it.
Yes. Like,
Thank you.
imagine if New York had Conceivable when she was on that date and was like, I want my eggs cracked.
Yeah.
I mean, I want my name changed. Like,
Oh my
she would have been
goodness.
chilling.
Exactly.
My soul weeps for the women who had to embarrass themselves in that way. But now you don't have to anymore.
On reality television at that. Lord have
Yeah.
mercy.
Hey, so we also, in our research and me personally, because, Lisa is a 2-time champ over there with the babies. I've heard that there can be different outcomes for plus size women. Is that something that you've observed in your experience? Is it true? Is it a myth? And how do you manage that with your clients?
Yeah, so it definitely depends on whether you're pursuing fertility preservation or whether you're pursuing pregnancy now. For fertility preservation, there aren't generally BMI guidelines around sort of, height and weight proportions, but it might affect your dosing.
Okay.
And we'll work with your clinical team to understand sort of what is sort of the right clinical package and protocol for your specific situation. When we start to talk about pregnancy, there is clear data that shows that BMI can be related to successful implantation outcomes, to successful ability to carry to full term. And so generally BMI under 35 is encouraged, although there are a lot of sort of supportive services that you can pursue if that's not where you currently sit. And again, this is just something that you'll talk to your doctor about, because certainly, women with BMIs over 35 get pregnant every day and they do it every day. It really just is about sort of introducing this variable of IVF, which can be a very expensive process. And because you want to optimize for the fact that it is really expensive, that it's time consuming, that's an emotional burden, you want to optimize sort of your personal health as much as possible. Now, I will say, people talk about women's health way too much. It is not just the woman.
Speak on it.
I feel like we spend a lot of time talking about like the things that women should do in order to ensure a healthy pregnancy. And certainly those things are true. Man's sperm is responsible for a lot. It's 50% of the genetic code of the child. And a man's DNA is what creates the placenta. A man's DNA is what contributes to preeclampsia. And so there are so many reasons why men need to be paying attention to their health.
Yes.
Ahead of planning for a pregnancy. It shouldn't be sort of a one-sided, things for women to focus on. And if I can say anything to the women, it's if you're talking about pregnancy with a partner, it should never just be that the man's job is to provide sperm. This is a partnership, and you should both approach it in that way.
Absolutely. And sometimes some of the infertility issues are because of the male partner.
Yeah, at least 50% of infertility, up to 50%, is male factor infertility.
Wow.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That needs a flex bomb.
Drop one of Clue's bombs. Yes.
Right,
oh my
Clue bomb.
gosh.
Come on. Girl, we get blamed for so much in this world. In this life. It's not always us ladies, but
all right. We need a man to like not bite your whole style, but we need like somebody to do that so they can get some support to make sure they don't have no bad swimmers.
Because globally it's like actually a global trend around like sperm quality is actually declining amongst like the male populace worldwide. Like there's a lot going on right now on the fertility side of things with men that we're not paying attention to at the same level of what we do for women's bodies.
Yeah, because
we love to tell women what to do. We love to tell women what to do.
Oh man!
Wow.
Well, Monica, let's talk about the global aspect, right? So you talked a lot about we talked a lot about the cost at the top of the show and how that's a big determining factor, which makes sense because we live in a capitalist society and money does not grow on trees here. But
unless you counterfeit.
Girl, in Trump's America, why not? But what's the big difference for women going abroad for this experience? If there are any nuggets you want to drop around having to go international for the fertility preserving. I love how you've given us the language for the two buckets. So for like the fertility preserving aspect of your services, the difference for women doing that abroad versus at home. And if you can say a little bit more even about how you chose some of the partner clinics abroad, right? Like you talked about Spain being a leader in the industry. And I know medical tourism is like a whole industry. And there's now other countries that I've heard that are kind of cutting edge in this space, whether it's Turkey. So just wanted to give you a little bit of a question to play around with for us to share about the international piece.
Totally. So the experience is essentially the same logistically. So an egg freezing process is about 10 to 12 days. It involves sort of the self-administration of hormones. But the key difference, of course, is that you're doing it abroad and not doing it at home. Far and away, the vast majority of women that we work with that are pursuing egg freezing opt to be abroad for the full 10 to 12 days. Most of them choose to be there for about 2 weeks or more. And really the difference is that most of them turn it into like a European vacation. I'll say that, probably 50% of our clients opt to just, work from abroad.
Yeah.
And so thanks to the time difference, they'll stroll around, they'll have a Spanish morning, they'll go to a cafe and walk around the city, maybe go to some shopping. And then by the time their colleagues in the US are logging in, they can come back, get a bit of work done, and then log off in time for what is Spanish dinner hour, which, the Spanish don't eat until very late. Yeah. So the whole thing just works very nicely if you're trying to double. And if not, you take a vacation, you go to the beach, you go to museums. And the key difference in my mind is that it really is a 2-week process that abroad is really focused on you and focused on that process versus being here, trying to rush to the clinic at 7 a.m. before you have to go to work, having to run across town and then, drive or commute back into the office. And removing stress from fertility is one of the most quantifiable and correlative factors that we have that says stress negatively impacts fertility outcomes. And so anything that you can do to remove stress from your life, including being in a beautiful location and stepping away from sort of the stresses of the day to day, those things actually help your outcomes. And they really do go a long way. As someone who has done it twice, it goes a really long way. Now, in terms of Spain as a fertility leader, there are a number of countries that outperform when it comes to fertility abroad.
Okay.
But far and away, Spain is hand over fist the absolute sort of leader, especially in Europe. ASHRA, which stands for the European Society of Human Reproduction and Endocrinology.
Okay.
In their report last year, they reported just under 20% of all cycles are being performed in Spain. Now, Spain doesn't have 20% of the population. Spain is Europe's destination for fertility care. People from all over Europe are coming to Spain specifically for care because they have the best clinicians, the best clinics, the most innovative technologies, and the best outcomes mile.
Yeah.
Just under Spain, there are a number of other high-performing countries, places like Italy, France, Germany, Ukraine, Czech Republic, Greece. But for a number of reasons, of those countries, we only participate in Greece. Those reasons are generally either that those countries have a regulatory environment that doesn't support the kinds of women that we like to help, single women, same-sex couples, things like that.
That's important.
Yeah. Or they don't provide the kinds of services that we need to support, like genetic testing. As an example, in Germany, genetic testing is broadly legal.
I was about to say, I thought it was illegal. I didn't even know they had IVF in Germany because you can't really let Germany too far off the leash in this world with eugenics, baby. Y'all have a bad rap with that.
Yeah. So it's probably a good thing that they don't allow genetic testing, but it's
not for your clientele, not for us.
Right. Yeah.
But not an ideal location for fertility services. So the other thing that I'll say is, the best clinics in the US, whether you're traveling from New York to New Jersey or whether you're traveling from New York to Spain, you are considered a cross-border reproductive patient. And the reason that is important, that term, is because it's a highly researched group of patients. The absolute best clinics in the US, they probably see on the high end, maybe like 7-8% of their entire population was a cross-border patient, meaning they didn't just come to the clinic because it was the one in their town. They came specifically to be treated at this clinic. At the clinics that we work with in Spain and in Greece, that number is between 80 and 90%.
Wow.
That tells us two things.
Yeah.
First, it tells us that the experience of being a traveling patient is not exceptional. It is the standard. You know, everybody speaks English. You're not going to have a communication barrier with your clinician.
Right.
You know, they work around your personal circumstances, not just your clinical circumstances. So I'm working remotely, so I need my appointments in the morning so I can be available in the afternoon, or I need the weekend. The whole thing just works.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way in reducing that stress. So apart from, you know, the reputation really standing out is the experience of like, they know how to work with patients like this, and it shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm like in the interview, but also like cataloging things. So like, well, I'm gonna run that back and think about that a little bit longer. So you kind of did like already touch on this with your last question, but if there's anything else that kind of jumps out at you, please feel free to share it. So we're gonna do a hypothetical. Once your clients have like decided to move forward with you, they've picked their destination, which most likely is Spain, it seems. Tell us what happens. Put our boots on the ground. Give us a
An itinerary.
An itinerary. Well, as much as you share. If you don't want to give up your secret sauce,
no
I do
proprietary information.
Right.
But
No problem.
Give us what's free game.
No problem. So once a client picks a clinic, then we set them up with a consultation with their clinic of choice. Either they've picked Spain. Spain is definitely our most popular destination, but Greece is becoming more and more popular. And within Spain, we operate within 2 cities and 6 different clinics. So you pick a clinic, you'll have a consultation with your doctor at that clinic, and then we'll start planning your trip. So we'll set you up with an apartment. We have in Spain, I think we're up to 1,300 managers of luxury accommodation. Spain, we get you anywhere from 10 to 20% discounts off of their base rates. So you're not paying those Airbnb fees to start working with their base rates. And then we get you discounts even off of the base rates. And we get you to Spain or to Greece. And then we do a lot in terms of in-country experiences. So in addition to assisting with lodging, we have partnerships with wellness studios, meditation centers, yoga centers.
Love that.
You know, aesthetics, you can get a facial, you can, you know, touch up your Botox if you want. And we get you discounts in all those places. So it really is intended to be sort of a full vacation experience that you come back just feeling like a refreshed, you know, version of yourself. So I think women really enjoy the like personal time to just like take 2 weeks and focus on themselves.
Yeah. And in the process, you're doing, like you said, the 10 to 12 days of your injections daily, and you're going to the clinic, but it doesn't consume the entirety of your time. It's really a person-centered experience that can be at whatever you want it to be curated as.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Would it be helpful to walk through like a 2-week clinical schedule?
Sure.
Yeah, if you like.
So in the average schedule, let's say a client travels over the weekend and they start on a Monday. They'll come into the clinic, they'll do a basal scan, a provisional scan, just to check out their ovaries and decide how we're going to start your dosing.
Okay.
Then you will literally walk across the street, purchase your medications. Just to give you a sense of scale, medications in the US for a single egg freezing cycle can cost up to $10,000. Our clients have never spent more than $1,700 on a single cycle on the high end. You'll walk across the street, you'll buy your very affordable medications, and then you'll start the self-administration of hormones that evening. But you actually don't have to come back to the clinic until that Friday if you started on a Monday. So you can explore the city that you're in. You could travel. You would go to Paris for the week, or you could go wherever you wanted. So long as you're back on that Friday, you come in.
Your business.
Exactly right. Come in, you do another scan. And what we're looking for is how are your follicles responding to the medication? Maybe we increase your dose, maybe we decrease it, maybe we add another medication. And then from there, you start to come in about every 2 or 3 days. You'll come back on the Monday, same thing. Do we increase or decrease? Come back on Wednesday. 90% of cases, women who start on that hypothetical Monday are going to have their retrieval the following Thursday, Friday, or Saturday in general.
Okay.
There's obviously a few exceptions to that, and we help you plan for those things, but that's a typical schedule.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool.
And then after the retrieval, you go back home.
Yeah, after the retrieval, you go back home. We generally say maybe wait until the next day before you fly home. And then you can go home. But I'll be honest, I believe we're up to probably maybe 20 or 30 clients that we have worked with who, after spending some time abroad with us, have relocated abroad. That is how.
Girl, they said, I'm
never leaving. I love it here. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're over here changing people's residency. Well, in this economy and in this climate, I'm not mad.
Yeah,
that's exactly so interesting. Well, Monica, that's the perfect segue to what I want to also have you speak to. You're talking about this from the perspective of an end user yourself, an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a mogul, but also you are just a very emotionally intelligent and empathetic person. So how are you supporting clients emotionally? Because this isn't just a medical service. You're talking about a huge life decision with lots of stories that are attached to it, feelings, baggage that's attached to it. It's a very personal and sensitive aspect of our experiences as women. How are you supporting your clients in that emotional space?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is helping clients see the ways that they are taking active steps for themselves. There is inevitably for all of us this like readiness checklist. I have achieved, marriage, house, job. And oftentimes that framework and whatever timeline we think that framework needs to exist by doesn't serve most modern women. It certainly doesn't reflect the emotional or biological realities of fertility. And instead, what we talk about in our conversations is what kind of life do I want to build? How do I want to feel in that life? And what kind of support do I need to explore motherhood now or later? These are the kinds of conversations we have about, should I save embryos or should I save eggs? Do I just want the option? Am I counting on finding a partner, or would I explore single motherhood? And all of those things are really big questions on their own. But when you start to think about it in the framework of what kind of life do I want?
Yes.
It becomes a lot more accessible.
I love that.
Okay. Yeah. So what are some things that most of your clients don't realize until they're actually within this process, other than the IUD?
Which you busted for us. I love it.
I think clients don't always realize how much time it can take. So if you don't have support, it can feel like a full-time job to like be coordinating your own scans and giving yourself injections and waiting for your labs to get back, and honestly trying not to fall apart at the office under this like cloud of uncertainty. And I think also people don't realize how like lonely and isolating the process can feel. Even with support, it's still your body and your decisions. And that's why having support and someone who's really advocating for you can matter. It feels like the whole course of your life depends on these 2 weeks. And I think going in with that awareness can help alleviate some of the pressure that like, no matter what happens, no matter how well it's going, I've had clients that like have had 30 eggs and who have panic attacks, and clients who have 6 eggs having the same panic. So it's just, no matter what kind of outcome you're having, you just feel completely overwhelmed by the weight of these decisions. And I think it's important to know that that is very normal, and it has nothing to do with you or your circumstance. Everyone is having that feeling when they're going through this, but you should be prepared to have that feeling.
Okay. Oh, okay. I like that.
Y'all write that down. That is a word. You kind of touched on the support element too. Like, I know it probably is a diverse range of people who decide to do this independently. Like, I actually just want to go and do this by myself versus I want to bring my friend, like my homegirl, we gonna make a girls trip out of this. Or even people who might want to approach this with like, this being something my whole family comes along with me to do. And so I want you to like, this is a show where we talk about bridging generations and breaking norms, because we as millennials kind of are that sandwiched in between these 5 generations who have very distinct opinions and norms around lots of issues, especially something like family planning and reproductive health. So conversations around fertility and family planning, they've evolved from what we saw in our moms and our grandmother's generation. How are you seeing the older generation respond to this model with your business? Are they supportive, skeptical? Are they confused and like, this some young people shit, but I'm just going to support my daughter? Like, can you say a little bit more about what you're seeing with that dynamic?
Yeah, I think in general, people are overwhelmed and surprised by the amount of support that they're getting from their families and from their communities. I think the silence around fertility in previous generations was like deafening. It was something that you dealt with privately, if at all.
Yeah.
And what's happening now is like a collective breaking of that silence. People are sharing their stories, they're talking about their cycles and their choices and their disappointments.
Yeah.
And that sort of normalizing of the conversation for so many of our clients is the reason that they're able to broach those conversations with their own communities and with themselves.
Yeah.
When I told people that I was, decided to freeze my eggs in Spain, I thought I'd, maybe get a few polite nods. Instead, I got phone calls and women saying, "Can I come with you?" And, my parents being very excited that I was, prioritizing myself and my life. And
that's beautiful.
I think we're starting to see fertility like not as a crisis anymore, like as a category of care that is worth budgeting for and planning around and openly discussing. And it's not, we're shifting away from this like one size fits all path to motherhood. The right time and the right way looks different for everyone. And that's okay.
Okay. I love that. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. What are you learning and unlearning about what it means to be ready for motherhood or partnership and doing this work? Which you kind of just like started talking about that. So if you'd like to elaborate, please feel free.
Yeah. So I think definitely the learning and unlearning is really training yourself to ask the right questions, different and better questions around certainly what kind of life you want.
Yes.
And I think for me and for a lot of my clients, freezing my eggs wasn't so much about locking in certainty. It was about creating optionality. And I wanted future me to have options, and that was enough. Being ready today is less about perfection and more about preparation. What is that? Chance favors the prepared mind. Have you ever Louis Pasteur?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's less about guarantees and it's more about giving yourself grace and doing the right thing for now, because you never know what the future will bring. You can only act with the information that you have now. And if freezing your eggs now makes sense, then it's the most powerful thing and the best investment that you can make for yourself.
Yeah, there's no level. You're right. Preparation. There's no perfect time. Even as somebody who has children, there's like never the time where you feel most ready. At least I would say that for ambitious and very like type A people who like to be prepared and want things to kind of look a certain way, I think we can get very cerebral about what ready looks like. So I think you talking about giving yourself grace to, based on the information I have right now, this is the best choice I can make and to feel the peace and the empowerment that I need and deserve. So we're going to rock with that. I love that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I will say too, a lot of questions we get is about like egg freezing and dating, and do I talk to my partners about it? Do I tell people about it? And you'd be surprised, the clients that we work with, those who sort of lead with that on dates, they're having a lot of success sort of finding out right away, is this someone who might sort of support a process like this, are excited that I'm freezing my eggs, or are they like turned off by the fact that I'm like baby crazy in my phase? And it says a lot about sort of the people that you might be dating by the way that they can respond.
Weed out the duds.
Exactly. In my experience, it takes a lot of pressure off dating, because it is saying, I have taken steps for myself. Whether you're part of that or not remains to be seen. Let's get to know each other, because for now, I'm in no rush because I've already sort of taken care of this myself. So as far as dating goes, for egg freezing, it couldn't be a better sort of conduit to sort of helping to facilitate really productive conversations with a potential partner.
That's strategy.
Absolutely.
That's game. I love that.
Yeah, because, I feel like it can be kind of like a a carrot like that's dangling in front of you. Like, come on, girl, you're 37.
Oh my goodness.
You
Accepting
better
nonsense behavior.
You better come on. I got a good job. I make you laugh. Have my baby. And you're like, well, actually, my baby is in Spain, or my potential babies are in Spain lamping. Yeah. So let's find out more about you. So I like that. Honestly, that's one of the things that I'm most looking forward to. I was recently on a break. I'm now open to dating, but I am looking forward to just having that peace of mind and being able to be like, actually, no, I'm not in any rush right now. Yeah. Let's talk about you and your reproductive health.
No thirsty bitches over here. We don't have to be thirsty, baby. We got our own.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I feel like we've had such a great conversation, and I'm excited because it's just like I am one of those people that kind of go in rabbit holes, and so I've done a lot of research, and I use your business as just like an opportunity for me to like have a better understanding of what I need to do. So thank you so much. Yes. And I told one of my really good friends, and so she's like, I'm down. Like, if you want to do it, we could do it together. And last night when we were prepping, Alyzza and my mom were like, well, let's just make it a girls trip. Yeah. So in the near future, I look forward to working with you because it's super exciting.
That means a great deal to me. The whole reason Conceivable exists is to help women feel like they have options. So the fact that is the way that it made you feel couldn't mean more to me.
Yes, it's resonating. Doing God's work. We are so proud of you over here.
Thank you.
For real. It's great. So my final question for you, because we're getting ready to wrap it up, because we've covered a lot of ground. So kudos to us, especially for the timing. So what gives you hope about the way modern women are rewriting their timelines and trusting themselves more deeply?
What gives me hope about the fact that they're doing that? Honestly, I have never been more inspired than when I have worked with Conceivable. And the reason is that to do things that are for and in service to women, and to be part of this community of people that I'm so in awe of and so inspired by. In today's day and age, I think a lot of us are really observing that there is a lack of community in general. But I think for those of us women who feel so intrinsically tied to one another, I have never been happier to see another woman win. I've never been happier to see another woman sort of take steps for themselves. And I think watching more and more women do those things that you've described for themselves, I think is creating this collective and shared sort of sense of pride that I think a lot of us need right now. It couldn't come at a better time. And, it makes me feel like this like tribe of collective women who belong to me and I belong to them is just getting bigger with every day. So that's probably the thing that makes me most hopeful.
Oh my God. That was so profound.
That.
I do too. Girl, we are literally like, our grandmothers couldn't even have credit cards. Couldn't even own property for real. And we are out here now in a space where we can determine what a family looks like for ourselves. My final question for you is, you mentioned kind of what 10 years from now even looks like for you as a woman and as a businesswoman. If you could write this love letter to your future self about what this work that you're doing right now represents and what your intention is and your hope for what future Monica can look back on and reflect and be proud of, what would you say to yourself?
I would say that I think that my life will be measured based on the people who I've helped and who I've touched. And regardless of sort of what comes of life and the roads that I take, I think if I can look back and know that I was part of helping women take steps to improve their lives and feel more confident about themselves, that I will have been successful.
Girl, that's a soundbite. That's it.
Amen.
We got to get some we got to get some like Conceivable merch that's like little onesies. Cause it's like there are real people that were going to be born on this side of glory because of the leap of faith you took and the call that you answered to really do this important, incredible, moving work. So girl, clap it up for Monica. We are so proud for Miss Matta. Please, what's next for you in the company? Tell our listeners how they can learn more and the support your business, your work, if they want to engage. Just give us a little bit of information to wrap up this segment.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in going abroad, visit our website, beconceivable.com, or visit us on Instagram, conceivable.reproductive. For now, we've been mostly direct to consumer, and we've taken hundreds of women just in the past couple of years. But next, we hope to be an actual employer benefit. We know that most people get their healthcare benefits from their employers. So we want to sort of follow that path and just to help more women find us. So spread the word. And if you're interested, we'd be so excited to meet you.
Oh,
yes.
Love that, Monica.
Gosh,
Friend to the
that's
show.
Amazing.
We are so grateful. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
Welcome back, y'all. I hope you all had a great time. We love talking to Monica. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wish I could have took notes, but at least I have the video. It lives on forever.
Absolutely.
I just want to take notes. I like taking notes. I'm old school.
Yeah, we're very analog. I enjoy putting the pen to paper as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a great conversation. So if you have any questions for Monica, I know we talked about it in our interview, but please send it to us. She's more than happy to follow up and give us some extra content just for you.
Yes, your question might be the one that's chosen to make it to the main stage.
Yes. So please email us. You can send it through DM. But yeah, let us know how you feeling. What questions you might have. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you want to know, like, how can I get on with Conceivable? I mean, we're going to have that tag. So if you want to learn more about her business, you'll see that. But also, we can make that connection for you.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Wonderful. So now we've done I won't say hard part because it was excellent, but we're at the main stage, but now we're going to close it out. We're going to do our benediction, which we like to call our PS. For our new listeners. This is our please stop or please start. It's just something that we need to get off our chest, and we would like to be integrated into society ASAP.
Yeah. I would love to hear from you first, friend.
Why you put me on the hot spot? Okay.
Because I know you have a good one.
Actually, yes, I do. But I had a really great one that slipped out of my mind, and I'm very sad. I hope it comes to me in a dream so I can write it down.
Or next episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't going nowhere.
Please stop making them huff-ass mashups, y'all. Y'all, please. Like, where are the DJ Who kids? Like, where are the Bulu Masters? Y'all putting these huff as hell, and then be making little videos of folks dancing off beat to it in apartments to make it seem like it's tight. The shit is garbage.
I want to see some bad ones that you've sent, because I've already liked them.
One.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want somebody to invite me to one of these parties.
They all trying to be the next Amorphous so they can be working with Beyonce.
Hello.
Right, but and sometimes his shit be huff, but by and large, he's actually very good. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest.
That's so funny.
I really, really, I can't remember now because I saw it on TikTok and I downloaded it like, oh no. These niggas ain't gonna believe this. That's so funny. I had that meme in my face because it was awful. And if you like it, because I'm gonna post it in our out of context post, don't tell me that you like it because I will judge you. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so funny. Kinda. Okay, I'm gonna send now. I'm gonna start sending them to you now. To be like, you like this one? If I think it's good, I'm not gonna send you.
Don't do that.
Now,
I hate it so bad. It's very, very rare. Very, very.
Well, I'm curious if the age demographic of the DJs who be huff, because I feel like you have to be a really good DJ, you just have to have a lot of exposure to different genres, and you have to have
absolutely, but they don't. It's very minimal, so they're very young. I know exactly
the references that they're making are not as hot as
it's not John Blaze. Like it's very pedantic. Like you didn't sit home with your pop and listen to different types of music. And you got a popular song, like all the different Beyonce like verses over like Genuine. Like, come on now. Like,
oh no.
Let's do something. I don't know. It's very elementary, and I'm sick of it.
I love that you're calling people to task. You're not as hot as you think you are. Go listen to some old records.
Keep practicing. Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at. I have literal albums that I inherited from my grandfather, who's no longer here.
Yeah. And like,
You have to actually sit down and listen to old shit with your peoples.
And mashups require a little bit of music theory, right? So like you got to understand the tempo, like even like the feel of the song. Like I don't understand how Tyrant, a song about riding, and I'm going to keep the expletive out because we have mamas listening to this.
My Lou Rawls album that my granddaddy gave me. Like, you got to dig in the crates for
you
real,
gotta dig in the crate. But like right now, the TikTok challenge is like they've made Tyrant a sad song to like describe like traumatic events, but she's literally talking about having sex in a very wild way. And they like slowed it down, pitched it down, and then like added a different song. It's just y'all suck.
Oh no, the children. You know what? I'm not gonna
bring back
TikTok.
music in the schools. The kids want to be DJs and shit, but they
need some
don't
music
have
theory.
It.
You have to sit and listen to some shit, and people don't listen to the radio anymore, so you're not exposed to things that you would
I get
not.
Because I don't listen to radio either.
But I feel like it's a rite of passage for the little people. You kind of have to raise the children up to hear things they don't want to hear, so that they can grow to appreciate it. That's why I was singing Anita Baker at my 7th grade talent show, because that's what I was raised on, child. But that's another story of Alyzza and Lorryn for another day. Don't do that with my auntie. I'm gonna send her after you.
7th grade.
No, actually, I was ridiculous. My 7th grade talent show, I sang "Body and Soul." I'm really ridiculous. I'm really ridiculous.
That's so cute. That's so adorable.
I really am. I've been Alyzza coded my whole life. This is not me pretending.
That's
I'm sure
so
it is.
beautiful.
But,
I love it.
Oh my goodness. Why aren't you laughing in my face?
Oh, sorry.
That's hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest. But no, that's cute.
That's fine.
I actually really love Body and Soul.
I love.
I like Alyzza. Anita Baker's music. I do.
You like Alyzza?
I just feel like, of all the old school ballad singing gals, a sleeper
girl
is.
She's not.
No, she definitely she got songs. She got the tender love songs. But I just had other faves. But I listen to so much music.
It's not a competition. That's the beautiful part.
There's
room for everybody. All the divas. There's room for them all to be great. But
yeah.
All right. That was fun, friend. My PS is a please start. So we have a please stop and we have a please start. So I am bereaved, legitimately. My favorite deacon went on to glory, and pastor was talking about, I was so sad. Because I go to a historic Baptist church, and so it skews very old. So people are always passing away. Every week we kind of get an update of like folks who have lost, who transitioned, and what their arrangements have been. But we ain't getting no emails, no notes. He just announced it in the pulpit today, and I was like, wait a minute, not my girl, Deacon Pat. You messed the city up with this one, girl. I am so.
But at the same time, I'm laughing at the phrase. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Not you, Black people. Black people. But I did spend today reflecting a little bit on her life and her legacy and the wisdom she shared and just the example that she was. And so the beautiful part about this deacon couple is that they were a couple. They had been married, and her husband is now he's still here, and he has to lay his wife to rest. And no matter how, they were this power couple, and no matter how big they got, how serious their work was, they always made a point they were like, no matter how busy we get when it comes to the church house, we want to be part of premarital counseling. That was just their they loved the ministry of pouring back into the youngins. And so no matter what their obligations, how big their obligations got, they made time to at least counsel, couples. And so we got matched with them when me and David were doing premarital counseling down at the church house. So this was almost a decade ago. And it just, they were in their 70s when we were together. So I'm like, her passing, it wasn't like a surprise. Like she was this young spring chicken, but it was like, you just want your elders that are the good ones to live forever. I just was like, they were in good health. They were so youthful acting. And today I definitely just spent some time today thinking about there are things that we learned from them in premarital counseling that we legitimately still quote on a regular basis. And that just, it spoke to the importance, I think, of us communing with the elders that you do respect in your life, especially if marriage is a goal for you. I do think that there is a lot to say about our marriages and as millennials don't necessarily look like how the boomers' marriages looked or the silent generation, their marriages looked. But there are some recipes. There are some really foundational core things that you can just eat the meat and spit out the bones. And I think we didn't start this platform, Bridges and Breakdowns, because we have a disregard for the wisdom of our elders. If anything, it's the opposite. We have a deep respect and a reverence for the. Go ahead.
And we'll cuss you out about it too. Listen to last
Period.
episode. Woo, girl.
We don't
there
play
was a
about
lot
them.
more that I left because we would have been 3-hour episode. But yeah, we don't play about our elders.
Yeah. And so everything that they do is not wrong or hashtag toxic. And so there's some really incredible recipes and we have to be good stewards of handing them down. And honestly, the example that they demonstrated of like, no matter how busy life got, it was a mission and a ministry for them to pour into the marriages and the families of other young couples who were coming up in a new generation and a new set of norms, that there were things that they knew really were hacks that worked for having a healthy marriage and having a positive marriage, a marriage that honors God, that honors yourself, that honors your spouse, and to build just strong Black families in this country that is built to separate us.
Right.
And I just think that for us to be good stewards of that legacy and of the gems, we have to actually break bread and receive them with our elders. So if there are seasoned saints in your life and if marriage is actually a goal specifically for you, I think there's a lot of benefit to going down and getting some premarital counseling from people who don't know you and who are going to be very transparent and honest with you and keep it real because, yeah, like I said, they are living sources, or they were living sources that we would cite, and that they were aspirational in so many ways. So I'm just rest in paradise to my girl. I know that she is in glory, with
having a funky good time.
And I'm just praying for her family, who are, of course, you miss people when they're gone. So Dylan had saw my reaction when I heard that Pastor said that she passed. And children can just be such a gift and a blessing. And I think that's the perfect way to kind of end today's show, because what he said to me when I explained to him that she had passed away and that she had died, he said, "Oh, well, is that because, we don't live forever?" I said, "Yeah, baby, that's true. Our bodies don't." He said, "Right, but our spirits do." And I said, "Oh,
maybe take a lap.
Come on." Yes. Oh. So she is with God.
He's so precious.
I know. And that's
he contains multitudes
that we will not talk about today. Yeah, I'm not going to tell his business.
He contains multitudes.
I know. I was about to say what you were referring to. So.
Oh, no.
Lorryn and her God baby. Yeah, they have a chaotic connection that they're the same in a very,
wonderful
way. But yes, the baby's out of the mouth of babe. So yes, I think that we need to start while we still have them. We need to get as much wisdom as we can from our beloved elders. So we love you, Deacon Pat. Rest well, my girl. Rest well. We gonna set it up for you down to the church house.
Yes, same. Julian Mahomes. I hope you're doing well.
You did. Now see, what show was that man on?
He was on a lot of shows. Charmed, Nip Tuck. He was in the All Nights at the Supremes movie with Sanaa and all them recently.
He was in the new movie.
He was in that. Yeah, he's been in a lot of things. He was an excellent actor. I loved him in Cole. That's when I first got introduced, when he was in Charmed. I'm actually gonna watch that, in his honor. When I'm working from home, I'm probably gonna watch it. He was Balthazar, but he played the hell out of that role.
Y'all, the Charm fans, y'all are a very unique bunch. I'm not gonna mess with y'all today.
Thanks. We are in bereavement, okay?
Y'all, we are bereaved. And it's
we
okay.
are bereaved.
Life is short, y'all. Curse that person out today who has harmed you.
Today. But yeah.
We love y'all.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Once again, reach out to us in the DMs on TikTok, Instagram. We have a Facebook that I am working on, and I did not do what I said I was going to do, but it's going to be up, so you can holler at us on Facebook too. If you'd like to email us, send us any questions, let us know what you want us to talk about in season 3, because season 2 is packed. Our email is bridges in as in Nairobi breakdowns @gmail.com.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Time.
Holla.
Peace.